I want you to think about someone who hurt you, someone whose words cut so deep that you still feel the wound when you wake up at 3 in the morning, someone whose actions left a mark on your identity that you have been carrying around like a backpack full of stones, someone who made you question your worth, your value, your place in this world. I want you to think about that person right now, because the reason we are here today is not to talk about them. We are here to talk about you. You see, most people spend the majority of their lives in a state of reaction. They wake up in the morning, and before they even open their eyes, their brain has already begun replaying yesterday. It has already begun rehearsing the pain. It has already started activating the same neural networks that were activated the last time someone let them down, betrayed them, dismissed them, or abandoned them. And when those neural pathways fire, the body releases the same chemistry, the same stress hormones, the same cortisol, the same adrenaline, and within the first few minutes of waking up, you are already living in the past. You are already a victim of something that happened yesterday, last week, last year, maybe even a decade ago. Now, here's what I want you to understand at a biological level, at a neurological level, at the deepest level of your existence. When you keep returning to the memory of someone who hurt you, when you keep reliving what they said, what they did, how they made you feel, you are not just remembering it, you are recreating it. You are literally, physically, chemically recreating that experience inside your body. The brain does not know the difference between something that is happening right now in your environment and something that you are vividly imagining or remembering. The same neurons fire, the same proteins are released, the same physiological cascade unfolds inside you, which means every single time you think about what they did to you, your body experiences it as if it is happening again, right now, in this moment. So who is truly hurting you? Think about that. Who is causing you pain right now? Is it the person who wronged you 5 years ago, who has since moved on with their life, who is probably not thinking about you at all, who is living their days without a second thought about the damage they caused? Or is it you? Is it your own mind, your own nervous system, your own habitual patterns of thought that are generating the suffering you are experiencing in this present moment? Because if we are going to be honest with each other today, and that is exactly what we are going to be, we have to acknowledge that a great deal of the pain we carry is not being inflicted upon us by anyone in our current reality. It is being self-generated. It is a program running in the background of our consciousness that we have never had the courage or the knowledge to examine, to question, and ultimately to override. And that is what today is about. Today is about giving you the knowledge, the framework, and the understanding of how to move from being a person who is defined by what was done to them to becoming a person who is liberated by the awareness of who they truly are. Because you are not your wounds. You are not the sum total of every betrayal and every disappointment you have experienced. You are something so much greater than that, and the work we are doing together today is about helping you remember that. The first thing I want to talk about is understanding the anatomy of a reaction, because before we can transform anything, we have to understand the mechanism. We have to look under the hood. We have to understand what is actually happening inside us when someone hurts us, because if we do not understand the biology of our own suffering, we will never have the clarity to choose something different. When someone says something cruel to you, when someone betrays your trust, when someone abandons you or humiliates you or disrespects you, your amygdala, the emotional center of your brain, lights up like a fire alarm. It sends a signal to your hypothalamus, which immediately begins orchestrating a hormonal response. Your adrenal glands pump stress chemicals into your bloodstream. Your heart rate increases. Your muscles tense. Your digestive system shuts down. Your immune system is suppressed. Every resource your body has is redirected toward one singular purpose: survival. You are in a threat response. You are in a state of emergency. Now, that response is not wrong. That response is ancient. That response kept your ancestors alive when the threats they faced were genuinely life-threatening. But here's the challenge we face in the modern world. Your nervous system does not distinguish between a lion chasing you through a field and your coworker undermining you in a meeting. It does not distinguish between a physical predator and an emotional betrayal. The threat is a threat. The alarm is the alarm. And the chemistry is the same. So your body goes into this state of emergency, and in that state, your thinking narrows. Your perception contracts. You lose access to the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for long-term thinking, for compassion, for creativity, for reason. You become reactive, you become impulsive, and in that contracted state of consciousness, you cannot see clearly, you cannot think with wisdom, you cannot access the deeper layers of who you are. You are simply a survival machine responding to a perceived threat. And here is where it gets interesting. Because the human brain is not just reactive, it is also predictive. It is a pattern recognition organ, and every time you have an experience of being hurt, it logs that experience, it maps it, it files it away, and the next time something remotely similar occurs, it does not wait for the full situation to develop before sounding the alarm. It sees the first hint of a familiar pattern, and it immediately begins to prepare you for the pain it believes is coming. Your brain starts predicting the past. It starts anticipating suffering based on what it has already experienced, and so you begin to move through your life with this defensive posture, with these walls up, expecting the worst, bracing for impact, interpreting neutral interactions through the lens of your previous wounds. This is why the same patterns keep appearing in your life. This is why you keep attracting the same types of people. This is why you keep finding yourself in the same kinds of situations. Not because you are cursed, not because the universe is working against you, but because your nervous system has been trained, has been conditioned to perceive reality in a very specific way. And what you perceive, you believe. And what you believe, you experience. And what you experience, you perceive. It is a closed loop, and we are going to break that loop today. The first way to handle people who hurt you is to stop making their behavior about your identity. This is one of the most profound shifts a human being can make. When someone treats you poorly, when someone disrespects you, dismisses you, deceives you, the immediate interpretation that the wounded mind makes is that this tells me something about who I am. If they left me, I must not be worthy of staying. If they lied to me, I must not have been important enough for the truth. If they hurt me, there must be something about me that invites pain. This is the internalization of external behavior, and it is one of the most destructive cognitive habits a person can develop. Here's the truth that science and spirituality both converge on. Every single behavior that a person exhibits is a direct expression of their internal state. Full stop. The way someone treats you is a perfect reflection of the relationship they have with themselves. People who are at peace do not deliberately wound others. People who are full do not take from others. People who are secure do not manipulate or control or betray. The harm that was done to you was done by a person who was operating from a state of lack, of fear, of unresolved pain, of disconnection from their own deeper nature. Their behavior was not a verdict on your worth, it was a testimony to their suffering. When you truly understand this, not just intellectually, but at the level of deep knowing, something extraordinary begins to happen. The story changes. The narrative that you have been living in begins to shift. Instead of the story being I was hurt because something is wrong with me, the story becomes I was in the path of someone who had not yet done the work on themselves. And those are radically different stories with radically different implications for how you move forward. Now, I'm not asking you to excuse what was done to you. I'm not asking you to minimize it or pretend it did not hurt. It did hurt. The pain was real. The impact was real. What I'm asking you to do is to stop allowing that pain to write the story of who you are, because your identity is not a wound. Your identity is a consciousness, a field of intelligence that existed before this person entered your life and that will continue to exist long after they are gone. And the more clearly you see that their behavior was about their own internal reality and not about your fundamental worth, the less power that behavior has to define you. This requires a practice. It requires you, in the moments when you feel that familiar contraction of shame or inadequacy, to pause, to breathe, to ask yourself a very important question. Whose truth is this? Is this my truth about myself? Or is this someone else's pain being projected onto me? Is this an accurate reflection of who I am? Or is this the behavior of a person who was wounded, who was limited, who was operating from the lowest version of themselves? And when you begin to ask that question consistently, with genuine curiosity and openness, you will begin to notice that the beliefs you have been carrying about yourself are not yours. They are inherited, they are absorbed, they are the residue of other people's unresolved experiences, and you have the power to return them. The second way to handle people who hurt you is through the radical practice of emotional alchemy. Now, this is not a metaphor, this is not a spiritual cliché, this is a description of an actual neurobiological process that is available to every single human being alive. Emotional alchemy is the ability to take the raw energy of pain, of anger, of grief, of betrayal, and consciously transform it into something that elevates rather than diminishes you. Here is the science behind it. Emotions are not just feelings. They are not just psychological experiences. They are electrochemical signals. They are information moving through your body. Every emotion has a vibrational quality, a frequency, a specific signature that your cells respond to. Fear contracts, grief contracts, anger, though it feels powerful, is ultimately a contracting energy. It narrows your field, it reduces your possibilities, it locks you into a binary perception of the world, threat and non-threat, enemy and ally, safe and unsafe. But there are also expanding emotions. There is gratitude, which research shows produces a coherent heart rhythm that influences every system in your body. There is love, which generates a measurable electromagnetic field that extends beyond the boundaries of your skin. There is awe, which opens the mind to possibilities that cannot be accessed from within the contracted state of survival. These are not just nice feelings. They are physiological states that literally change the chemistry of your body, the function of your brain, the expression of your genes. Now the question is, how do you get from the contracted state of pain and anger to the expanded state of love and possibility? Because I know someone out there is thinking, you want me to just feel grateful for the person who hurt me? You want me to generate love for someone who betrayed me? And I want to acknowledge that reaction because it is completely understandable. In fact, it is the reaction of a brain that has been conditioned by the very patterns we are working to change. The pathway from contraction to expansion does not begin with loving the person who hurt you. It begins with something much more fundamental. It begins with getting honest about what emotion you are actually carrying. Most people who have been hurt are walking around with anger on the surface, but underneath that anger is fear. Underneath that fear is grief. And underneath that grief, at the very core, is love. It is the love that was given and not received. It is the love that was extended in trust and was violated. It is the love that you are still capable of, even after everything you have been through. And when you can find that core of love that lives beneath all the layers of protection and defense, you have found the seed of your transformation. The practice of emotional alchemy involves sitting with the emotion, not performing it, not expressing it at someone, not repressing it or medicating it away. Actually sitting with it in your body, with your breath, and saying to yourself, I am going to feel this fully, and I am not going to be destroyed by it. Because the reason we run from difficult emotions, the reason we distract and numb and escape, is because some part of us believes that if we actually feel this fully, it will annihilate us, it will overwhelm us, it will be too much. But that is a lie. That is the lie of the survival mind. The truth is that every emotion, when you breathe through it, when you stay present with it, when you allow it to move through your body without identifying with it, every emotion has a natural arc. It rises, it peaks, and it passes. What does not pass is the emotion that you do not allow yourself to feel. What persists is the emotion that you push down, that you medicate, that you perform instead of process. The suppressed emotion does not go away. It goes inward. It settles into your tissues. It becomes chronic tension in your shoulders, tightness in your chest, shallow breathing, disrupted sleep, a persistent low-grade sense of dread or sadness that you cannot quite locate or explain. The body keeps the score, as they say, and the only way to release what the body is holding is to complete the emotional circuit, to feel it, breathe through it, and let it move. And when you do that, when you allow the emotion to complete its cycle, something extraordinary happens on the other side. There is a clarity, there is a spaciousness, there is a sense of energy moving through you that was previously blocked. And from that clearer, more spacious place, you can begin to ask what this experience is asking you to become, not what was done to you, but who you are being called to evolve into through this experience. Because every wound, every betrayal, every loss, every disappointment carries within it a seed of expansion if you are willing to look for it. The third way to handle people who hurt you is to understand the difference between forgiveness and acceptance, because these two concepts have been so conflated in our culture that many people refuse both because they misunderstand what they are actually being asked to do. Forgiveness is not a gift you give to the person who hurt you. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself. Forgiveness does not mean that what they did was acceptable. It does not mean you are pretending the harm did not occur. It does not mean you are welcoming them back into your life or giving them access to your energy or your heart. Forgiveness means you are choosing to no longer allow what they did to determine your state of being. Forgiveness is the decision to stop letting someone who is absent from your present moment have authority over your inner world. Think about what it costs you to carry unforgiveness. Think about what it requires of your nervous system to maintain that state of grievance. Every time you rehearse the story of what was done to you, your body goes back into that stress response. Every time you hold on to the anger, the resentment, the desire for justice or revenge, you are keeping yourself in a chronic state of biological stress. And chronic stress, as we know from decades of research, is one of the most damaging things you can do to a human body. It suppresses the immune system, it accelerates cellular aging, it elevates inflammation throughout the body, it disrupts every regulatory system your biology depends on. So when you choose not to forgive, you are not punishing the person who hurt you. They have moved on. They are not lying awake at night experiencing the physiological consequences of your unforgiveness. You are. You are the one paying the price biologically, neurologically, emotionally, spiritually. You are the one who wakes up with the weight of it. You are the one whose life is being contracted by the refusal to release. Now, forgiveness is not always a single decision. It is often a practice. It is something you return to again and again, because the mind has a way of rehearsing the grievance when you are not paying attention. And every time you catch yourself back in the story, you have another opportunity, another moment of choice, another chance to say, I am choosing right now to take my energy back from this. I am choosing to invest my attention, my consciousness, my creative energy in something that is building my future, rather than something that is anchoring me to a past I cannot change. And here's something I want you to really take in. Forgiveness becomes significantly easier when you understand the nature of the person who hurt you at the deepest level. When you can see that every person who has ever harmed another human being did so from a state of disconnection from their own divine nature, from their own awareness of what they truly are, you begin to see them not just as a perpetrator, but as a person who was themselves lost, themselves in pain, themselves operating from the contracted, fearful, survival-driven version of a self that did not know any better or was not capable of more in that moment. This does not excuse the behavior, but it does contextualize it. It places it in a framework of human limitation and suffering that allows you to extend something beyond resentment, not necessarily warmth, not necessarily trust, but at minimum, the recognition that this person was fighting their own internal war, and you happen to be in the way of their shrapnel. Acceptance, on the other hand, is a separate but equally important practice. Acceptance means acknowledging what happened exactly as it happened, without resistance, without negotiation, without the exhausting mental gymnastics of trying to rewrite the past or understand the incomprehensible. The human mind has a deeply painful relationship with reality when reality is not what it wanted. We keep asking why. We keep running the scenario forward and backward, trying to find the version of events where it did not have to happen this way. We keep searching for the alternate timeline. And every moment we spend in that search is a moment we are not spending in the actual present, building the actual future that is available to us. Acceptance is not resignation. Acceptance does not mean you wanted this to happen or that you are glad it did. Acceptance means you are acknowledging the simple, irreducible truth that it did happen, that it is now part of the landscape of your life, and that your energy is best spent not in fighting the reality of it, but in deciding what you are going to do with it. Because when you accept what happened, fully and without resistance, you stop fighting the past, and you free up an enormous amount of energy that was previously tied up in that fight. And that energy, that life force, is available to be directed towards something new. The fourth way to handle people who hurt you is to use the experience as a laboratory for self-discovery. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive of everything I am sharing with you today, and I want you to stay with me because this is where the real transformation lives. Every person who enters your life, including and especially the ones who cause you pain, is reflecting something back to you. Now, before you shut that door, before your mind jumps to the conclusion that I am saying you attracted or deserved what happened to you, let me be very clear. I am not saying that. I'm not saying you invited harm or that the universe punished you or that somehow your vibration magnetized someone else's cruelty into your life. That interpretation is reductive, and it is not what I mean. What I mean is this. The degree of pain that another person's behavior causes you is always proportional to the degree to which that behavior activates an existing wound within you. If someone calls you stupid and you have a deeply established sense of your own intelligence that is grounded in your genuine experience of your own mind, that insult bounces off. It does not penetrate. You might feel momentarily annoyed or dismissive, but it does not shatter you. It does not keep you awake at night. It does not replay in your mind for days or weeks. But if someone calls you stupid and you are already carrying an old, deep, unexamined belief in your own inadequacy, that word lands like a match in a field of dry grass, because it is not just encountering your present moment self. It is reaching all the way back through time and touching every moment in your history where someone made you feel small, where you failed at something important, where you were compared unfavorably to others, where you internalized the message that you were not enough. The present insult becomes the delivery mechanism for all of that stored pain. And what you experience is not just the sting of one thoughtless comment. You are experiencing the accumulated weight of every similar wound you have never fully healed. This is why self-examination is so critical, not self-blame. Self-examination, the willingness to ask, why did that hurt as much as it did? What does the intensity of my reaction tell me about what I am carrying? What belief about myself was this experience confirming, and is that belief actually true? Because when you can trace the pain back to its origin, when you can find the root of the wound rather than just managing the symptoms on the surface, you have found the thing that actually needs to be healed. And once you find it, you can work with it. You can question it. You can examine the evidence for and against it. You can decide, consciously and deliberately, whether you want to continue operating as though it is true. This is the extraordinary gift hidden inside every painful experience. Every person who hurts you is, in a strange and paradoxical way, showing you exactly where your consciousness needs your attention. They are pointing, with a very blunt instrument, at the places within you that are still governed by old programming, old stories, old decisions you made about yourself and about the world at a time when you did not have the wisdom or the perspective you have now. And every one of those places is an opportunity to investigate, to question, to release, and ultimately to reclaim a part of yourself that has been held hostage by a belief that was never yours to begin with. Now, this work is not easy. It requires a level of self-honesty that most people actively avoid because it is uncomfortable. It requires you to look at yourself without the protective narrative of pure victimhood. And that can feel threatening, because the victim narrative, as painful as it is, provides something. It provides clarity. It provides a simple story with a clear protagonist and a clear antagonist. It provides the comfort of knowing exactly who is wrong and who is right. And relinquishing that clarity, stepping into the more complex territory of genuine self-examination, can feel disorienting. But here is what lives on the other side of that discomfort. Here is what is waiting for you when you are willing to do this work. Freedom. Actual, genuine, biological, neurological freedom from patterns that have been running your life without your conscious consent. Because when you identify and heal a core wound, you change. Not theoretically, not philosophically, you literally change at the level of your nervous system. The neural networks that used to fire automatically in response to certain triggers begin to lose their power. The emotional reactions that used to hijack your behavior begin to have less grip on you. You begin to respond rather than react. You begin to choose rather than to be driven. And that is not a small thing. That is the entire game. The fifth and final way to handle people who hurt you is to invest that energy in creating an extraordinary future rather than analyzing an unchangeable past. And I want to talk about this in a very specific, very concrete way, because the instruction to focus on the future sounds simple. Everyone has heard it. Move on, let go, look forward. But very few people understand the actual mechanism by which this becomes possible. And without understanding the mechanism, the instruction remains empty. It remains a platitude that sounds good but produces nothing. Here is the mechanism. Your brain generates your experience of reality based on what it is expecting, based on the models it has built from your past experiences, based on the predictions it is constantly making about what is likely to happen next. And those predictions, those models, those expectations are built from the data of your history, which means if your history is primarily a record of pain, of betrayal, of disappointment, your brain will use that data to construct a future that looks a great deal like your past. It will filter out the evidence of possibility and amplify the evidence of threat. It will interpret ambiguous situations as dangerous rather than promising. It will steer you unconsciously away from the experiences that might challenge its predictions and toward the experiences that confirm them, because the brain, above all else, wants to be right. So the question becomes, how do you give your brain new data? How do you create a new model of the future when your history keeps supplying the old data? And the answer, which is simultaneously simple and demanding, is through the practice of mental rehearsal combined with elevated emotion, through the practice of spending deliberate, intentional time every single day, inhabiting the version of yourself that you are committed to becoming, not as a fantasy, not as wishful thinking, but as a genuine neurological rehearsal that your brain processes as real experience. When you vividly imagine a future in which you are free, in which you are whole, in which you are thriving, in which the wound that someone caused you has not only healed but has become the foundation of a wisdom and a compassion that makes you extraordinary, when you inhabit that vision with enough clarity and enough emotion that your body begins to produce the chemistry associated with it, something profound begins to happen. New neural connections form, new patterns of brain activation emerge, your nervous system begins to be trained toward a different expectation of reality, and over time, with consistent practice, the future you have been rehearsing in your mind begins to feel more real than the past you have been reliving. This is not the power of positive thinking in the superficial sense. This is neuroscience. This is the principle of neuroplasticity applied deliberately and purposefully to the task of self-transformation. The brain is not fixed. It is not locked into the patterns of the past. It is extraordinarily adaptive, extraordinarily capable of change, at every age, in every circumstance, under any condition. But that change requires effort, it requires intention, it requires the willingness to do the inner work consistently, not just when you feel motivated or when things are going well, but especially and most importantly when the pull of the old patterns is strongest. Because the pull will be strong. Make no mistake about that. There will be mornings when you wake up and the gravitational force of the old story is so powerful that it seems impossible to choose anything different. There will be moments when something triggers you back into the familiar pain and every cell in your body wants to go back to the old way of being, because that way is known, because the suffering is familiar, because in a strange and terrible way, we can become attached to our wounds because they have become part of how we identify ourselves. But every moment of that pull is also a moment of choice. And in that moment, you have the capacity to do something remarkable. You can become conscious. You can step out of the automated program and into deliberate awareness. You can observe what your mind is doing, observe what your body is feeling, and in that observation, create the space for a different choice, not a perfect choice, not always a graceful choice, but a choice that is moving in the direction of the self you are becoming rather than the self you have been conditioned to remain. I want to tell you something that I believe with every fiber of my understanding of how human beings work. The people who hurt you gave you something. I know that sounds almost unbearable to hear. I know it might trigger a resistance in you right now, but sit with it for a moment. The people who hurt you gave you an initiation. They gave you a forcing function. They gave you an experience so painful, so impossible to ignore, that it became the very catalyst that brought you to this moment of reckoning with yourself, of radical honesty about who you are and who you want to become. Every great transformation in human history, both individually and collectively, has been preceded by a period of profound disruption. The caterpillar does not elegantly and gently drift into becoming a butterfly. It completely dissolves. Every structure that defined it ceases to exist. And from that dissolution, from that total breakdown of the old form, something entirely new emerges, something that could not have existed without the complete destruction of what came before. That is the nature of profound transformation. And if you are here, if you have been through something that broke you open, if someone's actions left you questioning everything you thought you knew about yourself, about relationships, about the world, then you are in the dissolution. And the dissolution is not the end. The dissolution is the beginning. The question that matters most right now is not what was done to you. The question that matters most is what you are going to do with it. Are you going to allow this experience to become a perpetual loop of suffering that runs on autopilot for the rest of your life? Are you going to let one person's limited, fearful, pain-driven behavior define the ceiling of what you believe is possible for you? Or are you going to use this as the raw material for the most extraordinary work of your existence? Are you going to alchemize this pain into purpose? Are you going to allow this wound to become a wisdom that you carry into every relationship, every challenge, every moment of your life going forward? Because here is what I know about The
longest time in the world is the hesitation between thought and action. It can actually be forever. You can hesitate for 1 second to get started on something, a workout, a project, a task, something that you know you should do. You can hesitate for 1 second. That 1 second of hesitation, all of a sudden it turns into 5 seconds, and then 10 seconds, and then 10 minutes. And then just like that, you drifted into the eternity zone. 1 second became an eternity because something that was going to happen is now never going to happen, ever. Why is that? Because you hesitated. So don't take that chance. Instead, take action. A body in motion tends to stay in motion. A body at rest tends to stay at rest. You've had enough damn rest.
You got to get to the point in your life where you decide, I have had it. I'm tired of being a loser.
I got tired of losing. I got tired of coming up short. I got tired. I want to move to the nicest neighborhood. I want to fly first class. I want to go to Hawaii. I made a decision. Enough is enough. It's showtime. In order for you to go from one level to the next level, in order for any woman to transition, for any man to transition, the thing that they want must be greater than the thing they currently have. Humans do not transition to another level when they're comfortable with the level that they're on. You only go to another level when you say, enough is enough. I want you to live the life you were meant to live. You hear me? Not the life that was given to you. You deserve to see what your life would look like if you gave 120%. And what I need you to do is I need you to look at yourself in the mirror and say, come on, stop playing. I deserve to see what my life would look like if I gave 120%. That's lion mode. And you got to get to a place where you start executing.
Making a freaking plan is the easy part. And you have to understand, if you don't execute on the plan, if you don't get up in the morning when you're feeling tired, scared, if you don't execute, you're not just cheating yourself, dude. You're cheating your family. You're cheating your employees. You're cheating your team. Whatever you're a part of, it's bigger than you, man.
And guess what? I had to get up even though it was hard, and I had to take ownership of my life, take ownership of my time, take ownership of my day. And if those of you messed up, why? Because you don't understand think, act, eat, rest. We're talking about a schedule. I realized that my strength is in my routine. Why? Because I'm not as strong as I thought I was. I'm not as intelligent as I thought I was. It's in my routine. It's what I do every day repeatedly. The DNA of your success is in your routine. You're not as deep as you think you are. You got to find a routine. I'm getting up at 3 and stick with it. I'm getting up at 5 and stick with it. Yeah, out of 365 days, you're going to have a bad day or two. But I'm trying to tell you, the strength is in the routine. Find a routine and stick with it. No more dreaming. Dreaming is over. I need specifics. What are you doing on Monday? What are you doing on Tuesday? What are you doing on Wednesday? You need to be very specific. It's time to put your pieces together of your puzzle. Nobody gave me this. I earned it. Life wasn't a crystal stair for me. Didn't nobody give me a network. I earned a network. I worked my way to the NBA. I worked my way to the NFL. Everybody say, E, how did you crack the code? I grinded my way through the code. That's how I cracked it. I got up every day at 3. I don't care what the economy is doing. I don't care who the president is. Nobody helped me to get here. I had to get up. I had to go to class. I had to read. I had to study. I had to write. I understood that the dream is real, but the lifestyle is realer. It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. Stay predictable. Stay consistent. And the reason why many of you are not getting it is because you're not consistent. You start and you stop. You get pumped up. You start strong, and then somewhere in the middle you quit. You have a little success, but you don't experience exponential growth because you're not consistent. You gotta be persistent. You gotta be locked in. You can't scoreboard watch. Too many of you scoreboard watching. Every time you do something, you looking up to see the score. You stopping working to look at yourself. You not grinding. You glaring. You should be grinding and you looking at the score. The score is what it is. The score ain't about to change because you looked at it. Keep playing the game. Keep grinding. Keep working. And that other stuff will take care of itself. I'm challenging you to get from where you are. I'm challenging you to stop settling. I'm challenging you to stop accepting the life that was given to you. And I'm challenging you to give 120%. If you're going to do what you say you're going to do, be what you say you're going to be, you're going to have to lion me out. You a gazelle, you're going to come up short. You a gazelle, you're not always going to get what you want out of life. You a gazelle, you're going to have an average experience. You a student, I need you in lion mode. You a teacher, I need you in lion mode. You an entrepreneur, I need you in lion mode. You trying to lose weight? Lion mode. You can't do nothing significant in gazelle mode. Nothing. Nothing impressive happens in gazelle mode. Nothing happens in run mode, give up mode, quit mode, scared mode, fearful mode. Nothing happens. Everything happens in lion mode like I'm coming to get you. You concentrate on this opportunity. You don't worry about tomorrow. You concentrate on this opportunity with all your might, with all your soul, with all your heart. You focus on this, and tomorrow will take care of itself.
Are you going to say you want to do something, do it for 2 weeks and then quit like you did last year, like you did the year before last? You say you want to lose weight, get in shape, get your business off the ground, and then turn around and party, drink alcohol, eat like crap, and continue to live below who you were created to be. How long is it going to take to make the decision, to make the shift, and show some courage? It is time to go from mediocre to meteoric. It is time to go from being counted out to being counted on.
I've never met anybody who became incredibly successful in any area of their life until they had suffered and sweated and sacrificed and kept their focus and fought through tears and trials and tests. And if you have a dream and you fully commit to it sooner or later, if you do not surrender, if you do not quit, it will happen.
When I wake up in the morning, I don't think, am I motivated to go do what I'm supposed to do? No, I don't think about it for 1 millisecond. When the alarm clock goes off, I have no thought about whether this is easy, whether this is hard, whether I want to do it, whether I don't want to do it. None of that matters. It's an emotionless, thoughtless discipline. When the alarm clock goes off, you get up, you get out of bed, and you go do what you're supposed to do. I don't care how it feels. I don't care if it's easy or hard. It doesn't even matter to me. It's just a reaction. It's a discipline, and it's life. And that's the way I choose to live my life.
Too tired, too hungry, too sore, too hot, too cold, too whatever. People ask me what I do when I get those little feelings running around. Well, let me tell you what I don't do. I don't tell everybody. As a matter of fact, I don't even let those words run around inside my own brain housing group. I keep it secure, lock it down.
To me, this is an everyday gig. Every day is a Monday, an opportunity to come out of the gate like a man possessed and attack the day without mercy. Today, I'm taking scalps. I'm putting the pressure on. I'm the aggressor. I'm on the attack.
It's a lifestyle. Instead of hitting that snooze button in the morning and not making your bed, you don't hit the snooze button. You get up. You don't want to go run. You go run. You don't want to go swim. You go swim. You don't want to make your bed. You make your bed. You don't want to clean your house. You clean your house. You don't want to study. You go and study. It's going to suck. It's not going to be fun. Do something that sucks every single day of your life. That's how you grow.
The only thing you do for success is sweat, is blood, it's tears. You think you're going to get 50%? You think you're going to get 70%? You think you're going to get 80%? There is no discount. You can't get 50% off. There are no shortcuts to success. Stop thinking they are. And stop wanting people to put you somewhere that you didn't earn. The real beast is when their legs give out. The real beast when they tired. The real beast find a way to pull something out when nobody else ain't got nothing. When you really want it, you no longer hit the snooze button. You no longer lose focus when you're studying. You no longer take shortcuts. You are willing to do whatever it takes. And that means getting up early, going to bed late. That means you don't go to sleep when you're tired. You go when you're done. You might have put in some time, but you didn't put in the time. Yep, you did some workout. Yep, you studied a little bit. Yeah, you put in some time, but you ain't put in the time. The time that's required to make your dreams become a reality. You can't shortcut success. You gotta grind and you gotta put in the time.
If you had the qualities of fortitude, grit, discipline, mental toughness, you wouldn't need a program for your finances. You wouldn't need another fitness program. You would understand how to execute. The missing link is and always has been you.
In order to be the best, in order to get to the next level, you gotta sacrifice. You gotta be willing to do whatever you're asked to do. There are no shortcuts to success. There are no discounts to success. It's always sweat. It's always blood. It's always tears. You always have to give all to be the best.
I'm not going to sit around and wait for good things to happen to me. I'm going to grind. I'm going to fight. I'm going to do everything in my power to become the very best version of me.
When you do the things most people aren't willing to do, you will live the life most people never will.
If you're willing to take the harder way, the more complicated one, the one with more failures at first than successes, the one that has ultimately proven to have more meaning, more victory, more glory, then you will not regret it.
If you stay in bed, if you stay on the couch, if you stay in your comfort zone, if you only do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, if you get up, if you grind, if you are relentless, if you work as hard as possible, when other people are slacking off, your life will be easy.
1 + 1 is always going to equal 2. 2 + 2 is going to equal 4. And 10 years of work when everybody else is partying, making excuses, doing the cool thing on the weekend is going to pay off.
I get frustrated with humans when somebody's late and they upset. I get frustrated with humans when somebody borrows money from you and they don't pay it back and you upset. I get upset with humans when you go out to eat and they don't bring your food out the way you want your food out and you are so upset and you let them have it, but then you disappoint you when you don't let you have it. You give you a pass. You give you a pass. You are not where you're supposed to be financially and you gave yourself a pass. You know you better than that. You know you should be further in life, but you keep letting you slide.
That thing that's holding you back, that thing that's dragging you down, that thing is you.
Your biggest enemy is you. People don't understand it's you against you. The only person that gets in your way is you. Nobody else. It's you.
I need you to confront you because you're the one holding you up. I need you to confront you. I need you to look in the mirror and tell you, you are not going to do me like this no more. You're not going to continue to sabotage me. You're not. You're not going to keep procrastinating. I need you. You're not.
You're not a loser. You've just made decisions that have created an environment that feels like it. Go look in the mirror. Take responsibility for where you are and admit to yourself that you are where you are because of decisions that you made, because of weakness that you had, because of your lack of ability to do the hard things when things got hard. That's why you are where you are. And start right now fixing that. Start making better decisions right now. And before you know it, you'll be living a different life. The only person you can control is you. So focus on making yourself who you want to be. Discipline your body. Get up early and go. Get after it and you'll become the person you want to be. And you become that person through one small decision at a time. Become the person who cannot quit. Become the person who can say no to the things that they know they're supposed to say no to. Become the person who makes the right decision regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the hardships, regardless of the pain, regardless of the frustration. If you become that person, you have no limits in your life. There is no stopping that person.
You in 3 and you got 6 gears, but you're accustomed to 3, you're accustomed to 4. I challenge you to push it to all the gears you got. I want to see how far I can go. I want to see what I can accomplish. I want to see what I can do, what I can be, what I can have. I want to see. I don't want to see what I think I can do. I don't want to see what I think is possible. I want to see what my life would look like if I didn't count the cost, if I had the mentality that you gotta want it.
I'm going to try to be the best that I can be, the strongest, the fastest, the smartest human being that I can become. Better than I was yesterday. Better than people thought I could be. Better than I thought I could be.
When you cut this off, I want you to go look yourself in the mirror and I want you to vow. No more excuses. Like from this day forward, I'm not going to be getting pumped up. I'm not just going to be fired up. I'm about to start applying. Because listen to me very closely. The difference between people who talk about it and people who do it is one simple word, application. They hear it and they don't just hear it. They digest it. And when they digest it, boom, they do something with it. I don't need you to learn a lot of stuff this year. I don't need you to learn 40 things this year. If you can learn one thing, I'm talking about learn it. I'm talking about put it deep within. Not you hear it, not you read it, not you see it. If you can give me one principle a month that you own, that becomes a part of who you are, that changes how you think, that changes how you behave. If you could become an executor, if you could execute, you can do the unthinkable. You can make all your milestones become a reality if it stops being a hobby. You're doing it when you feel like it. You're doing it when you get time. You're doing it on your lunch break. You're not serious. You're not eating it. You're not eating it. You're not dreaming it. It's not haunting your dreams at night. I'm telling you right now, there are those of you are going to do the unthinkable if you can shut it down. You got to shut the TV down. You got to shut certain people down. You are minimizing right now and you need to optimize.
This is going to be a full commitment to creating the kind of person that can make the right decision even when it's the last thing they want to do. When they're tired, when they're sore, when they're hungry, when they're stressed, when they're frustrated, when they're angry, when the world is crashing down on their shoulders, they will still make the right decision. Your only solution is to become that kind of a person. Start today, and in 365 days, you will look back and you will say, that was the day. That was the day that everything changed. That was the day that my life changed. That was the day that my family changed. That was the day my community changed, my state changed, and my country changed because I changed. Make that day today.
It's going to feel better when it's over. You know that when you get done doing the hard thing, you know you will feel better when it is done. You also know that if you don't do the hard thing, the thing that you don't want to do, that you don't feel like doing, you know if you don't do it, you're going to feel inferior. You know you're going to feel weak. Those are the two outcomes. One will cause you some short-term gratification. You'll get to sleep a little bit more. You won't have to put out during a workout. You don't have to do this tedious task. You'll get some short-term gratification, but the long-term regret will be strong and it will inflict pain on you. The other outcome is when you do what you're supposed to do. You do what you know you need to do to move forward. And when you do that thing, you know you're going to feel strong and you're going to feel gratified and you're going to feel worthy of this life.
Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life.
And most of you in this room, you can't give up 6 months. You can't give up 8 months. You can't let stuff go for a few weeks. Some of you can't just let girls go. Let it go. Some of you just can't let parties go. Let it go. If you want to dominate in the area, you gotta let everything go but that thing you're pursuing. You can't chase 2 rabbits and catch both of them.
The shortcut is a lie. The hack doesn't get you there. And if you want to take the easy road, it won't take you to where you want to be. There is no easy way. There is only hard work, late nights, early mornings, practice, rehearsal, repetition, study, sweat, blood, toil, frustration, and discipline. There is only one way. Get up and go.
You need to be the master of your emotions, not let them affect you.
Get control of your feelings. By getting control of your feelings, you gain control of your life. When you do this over and over and over again, you change your brain. You become tougher. You become the one who decides what gets done and the level of success you achieve.
Discipline is something you dictate. Motivation won't make you exercise every day. Discipline will. Motivation won't stay up late and finish a project for you. Discipline will. Motivation isn't going to get you out of bed in the morning. Discipline will. Remember that the pain right now will absolutely pay off in the future.
Some of you are not successful because you think effort is success. You think because you put in 40 hours that you're supposed to get some because you put in 40. It don't work like that in the school of hard knocks. They don't care how many hours you put. They just want to see the execution. So you feeling in your spirit like, yo, but I did just as much as he did. I studied just as much as he studied. It doesn't matter. You just got to execute.
You got to get a little bit more intense about your life. You got to stop being so casual. It's decisions we make that chase that best version of us every second, every day, because every day alters the direction of the course of our lives.
We are losing control. And it's time to take control. You held up your someday. And here's the crazy part. All you got to do is look in the mirror. All you got to do is deal with yourself. And then we're going to get to a whole other level. At some point, you got to tell the flesh who's in control. I'm in control. You're not in control. I know you don't want to wake up. You don't have an option. Get up. There's a certain lifestyle we want. You need to discipline yourself. You need to learn to tell you no. You need to learn to tell you stop. You need to learn to tell you quit. Every single day, if you do what you say you're going to do, you're going to get what you dream to get. Some days you wake up, you in the mood. Some days you're not in the mood. A calendar does not care if it's your birthday, if it's a holiday, if you're not feeling good. A calendar does not care. A schedule does not care. So what happens is when you're consistent and you do something every day, you do it over and over and over again, it becomes a habit. More stuff comes to you when you execute, son. Execution, baby. We will do it by listing our priorities. We will do it by shutting everything else out. We will do it by saying no to everything that does not apply to our priority. We will do it by getting focused, laser focused. This will be the year that you stop half doing stuff. You stop half doing sports, half doing school, half writing that book. This will be the year of execution. And we're going to do it one day at a time. And you're going to get control. And when you get control over that one area, you're going to blow up in every area. And then someday going to be your day. If you work for it, if you're willing to put in that sweat, that blood, and those tears, I'm telling you, you can have what you want, be what you want, do what you want. And there ain't nothing you can't have if you're willing to work for it. If you're willing to stick in there, if you're willing to stay, if you're willing to fight, it ain't nothing you can't have.
Discipline your body, free your mind, get up early and go. Get after it, and you will become the person you want to be.
Rewards come after you work, not before. The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary.